Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the Metalcore podcast. I'm your host, Sean Mott. On today's episode, we have Davey Muise from Vanna Trove, and we fan casted the MCU version of the X-Men. This one was super fun, and I'm hoping to do more fan casts of different teams in the future, so let me know if you guys like this one. A couple news topics before we get into that. John Krasinski has met with Marvel, supposedly, over the course of this lockdown, and we can only hope it's about him playing Reed Richards for the Fantastic Four. On May the 4th, Disney Plus will be releasing an 8-part series of the making of Mandalorian Season 1. Last news item, pretty big one. WWE has released over 100 employees, including wrestlers such as Rusev, Anderson and Gallows, Zack Ryder, Cassius Ohno, a.k.a. Chris Hero, Kurt Angle, and a ton more. Now with everything that's going on, it's not likely a lot of these people will get picked up immediately, but we can definitely speculate that a lot of these will end up in either AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, or TNA. Either way, I'm really stoked to see some of these performers with the chains off out and on the indies and other promotions. And with that, let's get into this conversation with Davey Muise.
Yo,
What's up, man?
Just chilling over here by myself. My partner is working from the our home office, which she always does. So I'm just here like a out of school 10-year-old. I'm just doing the dishes and playing video games and waiting for my mom to yell at me, which is just my wife. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
Except she's been the one that doesn't really have anything to do, and I still have some stuff to do, just a lot less than normal, I guess.
Right, exactly. You try to not make each other feel bad for what did you do today? I'm like, well, I did the dishes. And she's like, okay, well, that's good then. I'm like, I went outside with the dog and I saw a tree.
Saw a tree.
Yeah, just kind of living life like everybody else. I guess it only sucks if you live in a bad spot. It's not that you don't love, then it can really suck. So
yeah. So let's get into how the whole coronavirus thing has affected you, because I know it's been very major on your part.
Yeah, it's been tough. I don't know how many people, I don't know if there's a conflict of interest or how many people know this, but as the person that books 50% of my life, you know that I
yes.
am currently not doing anything. So as far as music goes, everybody knows we're all kind of out of everything. And Trove had, has a record done that's been ready to release, and we're, trying to figure that out and trying to get creative on ways we can make content and videos and stuff, which we figured it out, which I'm really excited about. So in one hand, even though live music has stopped, I think that myself, as along with tons of other, musicians and artists, have tried to start figuring out ways that they can continue the fight, continue the passion in the new world of not being able to touch anybody.
Right.
So I think that, as far as that goes, my creative juices are still flowing. The thing that was the worst for me is that, because I don't think a lot of people put this together until I spoke with them, but because schools are out, I'm out of a job.
Right.
My number one source of income and creativity and just everything I love in my life is speaking at high schools, middle schools, and colleges. Mental health speaker. And, at first it was a couple of schools are going to pull out. And I heard about it. The cool thing about being in that realm is that I get to hear stuff directly from the government come down before any of my friends. And I heard that school was being canceled completely till next year, 2 to 3 weeks ago, before it started hitting mainstream school. I knew, I was like, man, that's it. So I'm completely out of work, which is a big blow to my finances and my household. But not only that, but speaking allows me to continue to share my story, continue to do mental health work. And I'm doing as much as I can, as we know, we all started podcasts and stuff like that. And I'm trying to keep the conversation going, but, completely being out of work, I watched my entire calendar that was filled every weekend just go red and get canceled.
Yeah.
So for the foreseeable future, I don't have any, speaking gigs per se at nightclubs or schools or anything like that. So it's kind of just been about like figuring out what's the future of, this industry is going to look like. Every industry has been affected in one way or another. And, I've gotten all sorts of texts from tons of people like, why don't you just offer online courses? And it's really like hard when the people that pay your paychecks are state budgets and schools, not kids, not teachers, not
Yeah.
parents. I hate asking for money. I hate trying to sell myself. Like I have a box of my merch that's just sitting in here and I just don't want to put it up online because, you know me, I feel weird trying to sell kids things.
Yeah, it's
Even
hard.
selling merch is part of the game and whatever. So now it's about figuring out how to harness those state budgets, because the number one thing that we want to do is we don't want mental health to fall off, and we do not want kids to lose connection and focus with their communities, with their schools, with everything that we've worked on all year. So I think next year is going to be focused on really trying to figure out a good online platform. It's like everyone's like, let's do Zoom, and then Zoom crashed in the first couple of weeks and classes
Yeah.
able to do it. And then it's like Google Hangouts and you have small groups, and I've done a couple of sessions. I'm doing a graduation speech for a school. They're going to play graduation speeches with a bunch of people they asked that were impactful. So like, I'm kind of, getting some things going, but it has affected in a major way. But I say this all the time. There's no woe is me in this, because we're all in this together. No matter what
Right.
your profession was, even if you're an essential worker, now you're being pushed beyond your hours for
Exactly.
overtime. Now you're afraid to go to work and come home and infect your family. So like everybody's affected in this.
Yeah.
So there's this weird like peace that I find in that, knowing that we're all in this together. So if, I've never seen communities come together more, which has been really cool. And for me, like it's so easy for me to be negative. It's so easy for me to be negative. That's why I'm like such a corny, like dork of a guy on the internet and all that other stuff, because I'm mostly just talking to myself and people that need to
Yeah.
hear stuff like me. So I try to stay positive, like all the time. So like I'll wake up and be like, I'm going to put on pants today. Yeah. Real pants
Yep.
today. And like a
I,
real shirt,
I've done that a few times too. I was like,
Yeah.
today's the day I'm going to put on pants, because obviously, I work from home anyway, so that part didn't change. Just the volume of work almost
Sure.
disappeared,
Yeah,
overnight.
completely overnight. Yeah. I mean, no one can play shows. So I think we're just all just kind of really just in this, like figuring out, trying to have a sense of humor about it, trying to stay safe. The only thing I don't think
Exactly.
is funny and I don't have a sense of humor about, which like I've already started kind of being really snippy about, is like if I see people on their Instagram stories and they're like in a park with like people, I'm like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are
Go
you
the
in that
fuck
park?
home.
I can't work because you're out. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of my friends and family are out of jobs because you're a dumbass and you want to be out in the
Yeah.
park and at the beach and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah.
just trying to keep the positivity and the memes and the negativity all like balanced out around.
Balance. Yeah.
Trying to do a good
No,
job.
yeah, exactly. Because you can go outside, but don't
Yeah,
go to a place where there's a million people.
right. Don't do it on purpose. And if you don't have to go outside, like don't. Like me and Kiki went out and we got food. We dropped off our laundry. There's like a sanitization service for like all the blankets and all that kind of stuff, and like all of our animal stuff. And we got food, and we hit the grocery store, and then we just were in my car in my parking lot, like hanging out, eating, watching Netflix on our phone, like being outside but still being away from anybody. So it's just
Right.
all about adaptation. Like I don't think anything's going to go back to normal. There's going to be a
No.
new normal. And
Yeah.
this new normal is going to have to adjust to society. And, it'll break some people, and some people will leave the industries they're in. But ultimately, I think that I guess for a small community's sake, I'm really proud of all my friends for the amount of good and positivity they're putting out into the world. So it helps. There's been some days where I wake up and I'm like, I hate today. And then I'll have someone will just randomly FaceTime me. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, sweet. You know what I mean? So it's good to know that we're all like, we suffer together, I guess.
No, yeah, because there was even a few managers and stuff that I talked to every once in a while, and even a few of those people shot me an email and like, "Hey, man, hope you're doing okay." And
Yeah.
I was like, that was really cool if you were to email me. Like, I hope the same for you. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. And it was like, yeah, if you're bored or want to just chat about whatever, my number, call me.
Yeah, I think this has become like the great equalizer. You know what I mean? I understand. And I also hope this too. I hope that everybody, I kind of hate, I love movies and I love entertainment. I love it. I'm
Yeah,
obviously in that industry. I just hate this like worship of celebrities. Like something not like they don't breathe oxygen or something. And I hope that all these celebrities literally like that need to log off the internet, they're just going on and saying the wildest, worst, unrelatable stuff ever. I hope people are realizing like there's a class divide. There really is. And I know that we love these people's movies, but a lot of these people are out of touch based on their money. And that's not to like say all celebrities are, but I just think that like I think it's nice that people are realizing, oh wow, like, you know, like I don't have to. And I think this is cool too, like, you know, podcasts popping up and storytelling and all this other stuff is like, look to the people around you for inspiration in your communities instead of trying to look, you know, somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into how we met. We met in 2015.
See, I just feel like it was way later, but that's fine. Because we've had a lot of times together. So that maybe
we have. Fine. So
I meant way earlier. I feel like we've earlier. I feel like
I don't think so.
12.
I don't think so, because, or at least we might have been in the same room. For sure, before. But this is when we actually talked. So Vanna was on tour with Slaves and The Color Morale.
Yes.
And I enjoyed Vanna at the time. And I lived in Syracuse, so it was easy. I went to like every show anyway. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'll see Vanna. And that was right when The Color Morale put the one album that everyone loves, and then they broke up after that cycle was over. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I love that album too. So I was there, and the show ends, and I'm just in a group of people talking, and then you come over.
I remember this, by the way. I remember this whole thing.
Yes. And Ghost Ship was playing Metal Fest, which you guys were headlining the day we were playing that weekend. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing Metal Fest with you on Sunday. And you're like, oh yeah, what band are you in? I was like, oh, Ghost Ship. And he's, oh yeah, I've heard you guys. You guys are awesome. And I was like, oh shit. Cool. You know?
Oh, great.
And then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna watch your set on Sunday. And I'm like, all right, sounds good, man. See you Sunday. And to me, you know, I've had other people say that or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you probably won't watch our set, but
yeah.
But we're setting up to play at Metal Fest. You come to me, and go, hey, Sean, hey, what's up, man? And I turn around and it's you, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, yeah, I'm just letting you know I'm watching your set. And I was like,
here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was like.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is this, like, I feel like a lot of people assume that like musicians are like insincere or whatever. And, but like at a certain point going on tour, meeting people became the reason why I did it. You know what I mean? It was like even beyond, you know, being on stage. So like when a band like kicks ass, a local band, or like even there's like a group of like cool looking like humans in a venue, I kind of will just like stroll up maybe at the bar and grab a drink and hang out. And if maybe someone recognizes me, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Cause I like to meet people. I really do. I like to hang out with people. And, you know, it was a thing where I was like, oh yeah, you're in Ghost Ship. Like I knew that dude, Chris, that was in that band for a while. And I heard of you guys and I'm like, oh, this would like, we would fit together on things. In fact, I think I remember you like asking us to like maybe play your, like the Ghost Ship, like farewell show.
I might have, yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. And like later down the road, I was like, oh, we're actually breaking up. So we're going to save what we do. That's like literally ended up being the reason. It's like, oh no, actually Vanna's going to break up. So we need to like save the gusto for when we're going to go out. Yeah, dude, I definitely remember that. I definitely was in a room with you way before that prior. When you had that your long metal ass hair, which was awesome.
I still had long hair then too. I only cut it a couple years ago.
Yeah. You definitely had long, straight, like,
yeah,
like, you know, like a guy that like, if you would try to sit at his lunch table and talk about metal, he would quiz you and you'd get everything wrong type hair. That's like what you had.
I didn't know that much about metal. It was all metalcore.
That's fine.
It all melts together eventually.
It's all the same thing eventually. Yeah.
So today, and this is how I got to this. Obviously, after that, we kept seeing each other random places like Warped Tour and other shows or fests. And then eventually, when you started managing bands for a little bit, you're like, "Hey, I want you to book the bands I manage." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that
you
obviously,
a few of the bands I managed.
Yes, and that eventually landed to when Trove started being a thing. You're like, I want you to book Trove and your solo stuff. They kind of fell into the same thing. And I was like, yes, of course, yeah. I will book anything you're in.
I feel like for me, I would rather work with people that believe in what they're doing and believe in the band or artist they're working with, rather than be like, oh, that person's like and this is not a slight on you when you were starting out, like, oh, that person's a huge agent, I got to get them. My thing is that I would rather grind with people and work really hard with people to get to a point, because that loyalty is something that, like, you can't buy that loyalty.
Nope.
And, starting out, like, I was managed by a man named Scott Lee for, 10 years with Vanna. And, having that like loyalty of like someone looking at you as five guys in a band and not just a dollar sign is really nice. So I always like learn to like work with the people that want to grind for you. And like what better to like work with people than there are people that maybe there's like between your connections and my platform already, we could build a little, something a little cool. And,
Exactly.
You already know me so well that when like someone comes down with a deal or whatever, you can already hear me talking to you being like,
Yes.
or like, hey, we can make this work, or, and it's been awesome. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I always like working with, I like working with friends that are professionals. I don't necessarily working with like homies, because like homies always want to like get the hookup.
Yeah.
But I do like working with professionals that are friends. It's really awesome. And I like people that are trying to make their careers helping my career, because who's going to work more? Someone that's like got that books 1,000 Davey Muses and it doesn't matter because they're good at it and they can do it, but they already got a million of me. Or
Right.
one dude that's just trying to like, bust his ass and make a name for himself. So I think that I always rather work with those people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And as soon as I started this, it was right when you launched your podcast too. And
Yeah.
I texted you and I was like, hey, you're going to be on my podcast. I just need to figure out what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And the other day I listened to a million podcasts, mostly nerd related or wrestling related, whatever.
Sure.
And they were talking about how it's the 20th anniversary of the first X-Men movie. First, I was like, wow, that movie's 20 years old. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then second, I was like, obviously the X-Men are going to be in the MCU in the next few years. We don't know when or how yet, but it's going to happen. It's inevitable. So I texted you and I was like, you like the X-Men, right? And you're like, X-Men's my favorite fucking thing. And I was like, all right, get ready for this. We're going to recast the new X-Men.
which okay, so let me get you here. So
Yes.
I have a Magneto like leg sleeve, and I'm sure we're going to get into this, but I have liked X-Men. It's my original. It's like the reason for everything. And when you started this podcast, I was like, if this man does not let me do an X-Men episode, he's fired. He's like legit. It's definitely over.
I'm glad I asked you.
Oh my God. Because I mean, anyone who like really, really knows me, wow, it has been 20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Holy crap. I just looked it up because I was doing a lot of like searching, because I went off once you like texted me this. I was like, holy crap. I'm not going to lie. I misunderstood the question at first, like whenever you texted me a couple days ago, and I recasted the X-Men with none of the popular X-Men. I put in all of my favorite X-Men, and I also chose actors to play them. So I went like, so a couple of people I told you I have some variants. I have a couple characters that are literally like some of my favorite characters that never got like a real shine at all, that I'm going to also add to my list. So that's just a preference. Like we got that one too.
Yeah. Cause like you said, X-Men's always been your thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember what got you into X-Men? Like the moment?
Yes, I do. So, my mom, I grew up poor, just like most of us did. And on Saturdays, my mom would go and get shopping done. And there was this little complex. It was outside of Boston. And there's this little like shopping complex, right? And there's a discount shoe place where I got my first pair of like Nike Blazers and Doc Martens. And they were like considered like poor people's shoes. They were like secondhand and crappy and whatever. In the same little block, there was just a comic book store. And I used to go in there because they had popcorn and ice cream. Like they had like they had a soft serve machine, and they had that popcorn thing. So I used to go in there, and I started going in there. And obviously, like every other kid, was like, you know who Spider-Man is, you know who Superman. right away, I noticed something when I went to the comic book stores. Like actually the first like section I went over to was DC. And I like went over there and like kind of looked at all that stuff and was like, this ain't it. Like, I'm not a DC. Like, I just knew right away I wasn't a DC guy. And I walked over and I'd known Wolverine, obviously.
Right.
Loved Wolverine. And the guy, this is so weird actually how I got into it. The guy at the counter was like, I was holding a Wolverine comic and he was like, you like Wolverine? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you like post-apocalyptic shit? And I was like, 9? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. But I was like, yeah, I do. It sounded like destructive. So he gave me Wolverine 2099. So he gave me the 2099 series first. So I went through and I went back every Saturday, my mom, and I'd already had a bunch of like random comic books my mom gave me. But this is where I'm like starting to home in. So I read like Wolverine 2099. I read like Vulture 2099. I even do Venom. I basically do like almost all the 2099 series. And while I'm in there on a Saturday, I'm just sitting down and I'm digging through these like piles, and one of the dudes puts boxes down and was like, hey, this is all Uncanny X-Men, and they're 25 cents each.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what's Uncanny X-Men? And he was like, well, it's a just like 2099 is its own like storyline, timeline, and series. Uncanny is its own storyline, timeline, and series. There's classic X-Men. And I'm like, there's more than one kind of X-Men.
Yeah.
So at this point, I sit down and I probably bought, I don't know, like whatever, like I probably had like $5. So I bought like, they're 25 cents each. I just went through and bought a bunch of like ones that he was like, that one's good, this is good. And he helped me because he gave me like beginning of storyline edition. So like, this is the first appearance of Nightcrawler. This is the first, you know what I mean? And so from then on, I had a comic book store in my town as well. So then I started skateboarding and getting a little bit older. And I just spent my Saturdays like on the floor of a comic book shop, just reading, rifling through. When I was younger, I used to be able to like tell you like who did like the inking on the series and like, like the editors. And like, what I wanted to do when I was younger is I wanted to write storylines for comic books. And I've been a writer my whole life and I still want to do it. So if anyone's listening to this and they're like, I like make comic books, but like I have no creative capacity to think about a storyline, hit up your boy, because I've been thinking about this since I was 9 years old.
That's amazing.
I don't know what it was. I think for me, it was just like I had like tunnel vision. So if I opened a comic book, it would take my whole face and I would just have tunnel vision and hours would pass by and my mom would come scoop me or like, whatever. I'd be like, hey, we're closing. And I'm like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. Like I need to get out of here. And then every town I moved to from then on, as I grew up, I just went and introduced myself to the comic book store and people that worked there. And I, told them what I was looking for. And I built a very huge collection, very, very large, extensive collection. So I had like things in glass. I had like Spider-Man #1 and 2. I had Wolverine #1. I just had a lot of stuff. And when I was 22, my whole house burnt down and I lost everything. So not only did I lose that, but I had fireproof cases and people like, I've gone through the ringer of people being like, how could you not get fireproof cases for like, I'm like, I did have fireproof cases. I'm pretty sure the firefighters, because when I got the cases back, they were all like jimmied open and there was like ashes in there, but there was no glass plating, none of my screws, none of the stuff that was like supposed to be in there. So I probably got it's probably like close to like $10,000 worth.
Yeah.
It's just gone. So Kiki has been buying me comic books like every birthday and Christmas to like start like,
I love that.
Start getting my collection back up. I started really getting into like graphic novel and like the complete series now, just because like it's just a lot easier to like kind of get through and take with you and read. But it's something that's been with me like my whole entire life.
Yeah, my path was opposite because I got into the cartoons first. Obviously, the '90s X-Men cartoons,
the animated series. Oh my God, that was like every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern time. That was on my TV.
I was obsessed, and then I was a big Batman kid and Spider-Man, so all the Batman movies and especially the Batman animated series, the Spider-Man animated series, and everything. That's what got me into it. And then eventually, when the MCU started, That's pretty much started the wave of serious, not serious as in like serious tone, but comic book movies started getting taken seriously because Dark Knight and Iron Man both came out in the same year, launched the whole future of everything that's come now, and after I started being like, I want to learn more about where these stories come from. So I would start researching, and then Sam started buying me comics because she knows I love everything. So, and I always talked about it, but I'm really weird about spending money on myself. I usually never do. I always spend it on someone else. So she goes, hey, here's some comics. You love this stuff. Start buying comics. I know you want to read this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So she did that. And I'm the same way now. I buy pretty much only trades because it's way easier. You can read the whole story in one thing.
Yeah.
And that's because there's a comic book store here in where I live. And I when it was open, I would help them out a couple times a week because it's two brothers who run it and they work literally every day. So I would go work a couple of days a week because they're like, you know your stuff, right? Because I used to go in there and I'd buy comics, and Sam's known both of them forever. They buy pops from her, Hot Topic and everything.
Yeah.
And they also have an insane pop collection, like one of the biggest pop collections I've seen in my life to sell and everything. Yeah. They have like a whole wall where it's just rare ones and everything. It's nuts. And they're like, hey, Sam made a joke one day, hey, you should have Sean work here. He loves comics. He knows, even if he hasn't read the comic, he researches everything. He's a psychopath. And I don't know everything about comics, but I know.
You knew enough to get by.
Yeah, I know quite a bit. If someone starts talking about comics, I probably know exactly what they're talking about. And so I started, I'd work there like once or twice a week or whatever. And it wasn't even really working. I'm just hanging out, organizing comics or talking to someone about comics. I don't really consider that working. Yeah. And then I just kept buying more trades and everything like that. But yeah, for me, it was what I remember as a kid is watching X-Men, Batman, and Spider-Man. And then when they started making movies, I was even more and more and more.
Yeah. I bought that whole X-Men series on iTunes or Apple or whatever. all the cartoons. I bought the whole thing when it came out. I was like, yep. I just play it just in the background and stuff all the time. So yeah, Saturday morning, that was it. It was like my only chance to see the X-Men come alive, which when the movies came out, I was like, oh my God, they're coming to super life, which I think is what it is for all of our, all of us in the fandom world is whatever you're a fan of, whatever it's Star Wars, X-Men, Harry Potter, whatever it may be, seeing that stuff come to life is
it's magic.
Beyond cool. And that's what you want.
Yeah. Speaking of the movies, favorite X-Men movie that's come out so far?
This is hard because I think that they're all trash. But and that's only because
all of them?
No. Okay. So I don't think so. The first one, obviously, I liked it a lot. Just because it was okay, it's here, it's come to life, it's great. Yeah. I don't love that, and this is just from a standpoint of people who read comics. When you're watching the movie, sometimes I'm like, they are crossing so many different storylines, which they have to do that. I get that. I think. Okay, this is tough. I have them in front of me right now. Okay. I want to say this. I love Logan. Yeah. I love that movie. I think it's great. I think that if everyone really knew Logan and really knew Wolverine, he necessarily wouldn't be people's favorite hero because that's not technically it's not really what he is at heart. But yeah, I love Logan. It's bad and dirty.
Logan was probably the most
accurate
representation of him for sure.
Yeah.
So other than the other ones.
Yeah, there's definitely I would have loved to see a whole Japanese storyline with him because that's a huge part of his.
Kind of tried it, but they failed very hard.
Yeah, didn't do a very good job. What's funny is they keep on throughout the movies they reference Wolverine's integrated past with Japan a little, but they just never quite fucking get it right. Okay, so Logan I love definitely a lot. Here's the one I hated the most, which is sad. Dark Phoenix is the Phoenix Saga is one of the best stories ever written in
Yeah.
the whole world of X-Men. And I thought it was just done like, it was just like, the casting was good. And what's that girl's name in it?
Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner. Like, as far as Dark Phoenix look, I'm like, yeah, that's who I want. When I heard it was her, I was like, this is going to be awesome. And then it just was like, they just phoned it in.
Here's the problem with that whole storyline. That would almost need to be, like, they were 5 movies or 4 movies in or whatever in this new 4 in the new era, since they switched it up, which the second one was kind of both. It was just retconning all of the first trilogy, which is
which I thought was kind of stupid. There's so many storylines they could have been covering. So many.
Yes. But they need more time to make that story make sense. For one, the story's wacky as fuck.
Yes.
It's really especially the beginning. The beginning is weird. So it'd be hard to pull it off. But both times they did it, X3 and Dark Phoenix, the only thing they took was the Phoenix part. That's it. And
they recreated the house scene. Like, again, you're gonna recreate that house scene again.
Yeah,
like,
there's
just so much better things. So anyways, so that one's trash. So I like okay, so X-Men, X2, X-Men United, and The Last Stand are like, they're good. The Last Stand is like a little bit like hokey and weird. Then I had big hopes for X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes.
Big hopes for that. Not bad, pretty good.
Until they made Deadpool a weird zombie dude with
sword which I don't understand. And then they like, there's so many like weird little things in the Marvel universe. They're like, forget that. We'll go back to it. We'll figure it out later. But then First Class came, and I gotta say, like, I think I'm very alone in this, but I liked First Class only because it was like fresh. Hopefully there'll be something new they're gonna try. I do like James McAvoy, and I do like Michael Fassbender for Magneto. I think that the only way you could he's the young Magneto. Like, that's the only way you could really cast him. I think they did a really great job with that. Days of Future Past. Also, I like that one also. I think that's one of my more faves.
I'm in the weird minority with Days of Future Past, and I don't really like it because I get it's a huge storyline, but I feel like it's so confusing to watch.
It's a little disjointed. Right?
Yeah, and some of the powers they put to people and everything, like Kitty Pryde is not like how she is supposed to be
at all. And yeah,
the biggest problem with the main trilogy, and I love the main trilogy besides really Last Stand.
Last Stand's a little.
Yeah, but they made Wolverine what Cyclops is supposed to be. Obviously, Cyclops was important in the first one, but and First Class is my favorite probably.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say, and it's probably the closest to an X-Men movie we've had because I think you hinted at this when we were chatting about recording this podcast, is that we haven't really got an X-Men movie yet.
No.
We haven't. There hasn't been an X-Men movie like it's supposed to be.
I want to see like, I don't know, like I want to see like more artistry telling the story of like who these X-Men are. You know what I mean? Exactly. I understand that like explosions and shit, but like build it, ramp it. Like what I'm hoping for is a ramp so that you get your Infinity War Endgame, you get that, but you gotta wait. You gotta build, you have to invest in these characters, man, because as a kid you invest in these characters. That's what you do. You know what I mean?
What I really hope they're going to do, which I think they might do, is they're going to start introducing people in other movies and giving people solo movies and then building to an X-Men movie. That's what I'm hoping.
That would be so like almost like origin movies for everybody.
Like they did in Phase 1, they had Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America,
and Avengers. That seems to be like a good it seems like it'd be a good formula because honestly I would love Wolverine. Literally one of the best characters ever put to ink. But I would love for them to focus on other people and other X-Men, because Wolverine wasn't even my favorite. So I think that it'd be a good chance to kind of come off the Wolverine train and have them in there, obviously, but like
Yes.
let other characters breathe. What sucks is that X-Men, some of my favorite characters in this X-Men world are women, and I feel like they're not giving women enough like movie titles, because there's so many kick-ass women and women villains. There are so many good women villains in the like X-Men realm. When I was redoing the like cast, because I thought you wanted me to like recast, so we're not doing the traditional X-Men characters. We're doing like I have all these like sideline women that are just like destroyers. They're like so I think there needs to be more, like, they need to focus on all of them individually, I think. So and hopefully they do that.
Yeah, I hope so too. So we're going to get into this. So here are the rules. We're going to fan cast our MCU X-Men, and here's the rules we set for each other. Well, I set them and Davey followed them, I guess. But they can't be someone who's already been in an X-Men movie, and they can't be someone who's already been in the MCU unless they were a very small part or almost unrecognizable or an alien or something. For example, Gemma Chan was Minerva in Captain Marvel, and now she's one of the main stars in the Eternals.
Okay, cool.
Which, in retrospect, Captain Marvel came out last year, and Eternals is coming out early next year. So it's not a far gap.
No,
the only difference is she was blue.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It was still her. So we're going to start off. I kind of took a mix of characters that were popular in the movies and some of the main X-Men team. Main X-Men team is kind of hard to nail down in the comics because there's so many.
Are we talking blue team? We talking yellow team?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
so many. So I did kind of a mix, and I know Davey added a few in the end. So, and I told him not to tell me because I'm going to try to come up with spur of the moment choices.
Okay.
So we're going to start off Storm. Who's your Storm?
Zoe Kravitz.
That's what I thought. A little bit.
Okay, so Zoe Kravitz is, first of all, the most beautiful creature in the entire world, hands down. Secondly, I just feel like she has that like really weird like mystique about her, and maybe she could play Mystique as well. But I just feel like she's very, very, she can pull that off. And where's Storm is from? The islands, the Caymans? Where's she from?
She's from near the Africa region because obviously in the comics she eventually marries Black Panther. So it's near that area.
She's sort of like the queen of that.
I think they combined kingdoms with that marriage.
You just need someone who's powerful, that can have that confidence, and also I kind of did this in like I tried to line it up in like a timeline of age too. Of like
I didn't. You'll see.
I kind of did and I kind of didn't. So Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, because obviously, like how you just said, she needs to be strong and powerful. Because Storm, I don't think has been portrayed. A lot of the X-Men haven't portrayed like they're supposed to be, or how I think most people think they should be. And Storm was the person who played Storm last in the newer movies. I thought she was awesome, but they didn't let her.
No, they
shine at all. Not at all.
She needs to flex. Storm is quite Storm is the leader of the blue group, I'm pretty sure. And she is,
regardless, she's always a leadership role.
And every movie portrays her as like a
side character.
I'll fly the plane. Like I'll come to this. Like, dude, she's a main girl. Get her in there.
So here's who I have. Natalie Emmanuel. So if you don't know the name, because I didn't know her name, I knew who she was, but I had to look up the name. She is Missandei in Game of Thrones. Daenerys' right-hand girl.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I saw that because I was having such a hard time picking a Storm, because my first two picks would be either the person who plays Okoye in Black Panther or Lupita Nyong'o, who's also in Black Panther. They're both great Storms, but obviously they're main characters already in the MCU, so that would not work. So I was having such a hard time finding someone that would fit the criteria.
She would crush.
Yeah, and I was like, this is perfect. And she's badass in Fast 7, which I totally forgot she was even in that movie.
Right.
Yeah, she's Ramsey, who creates the God's Eye program and everything.
Right.
So I was like, fuck yeah, that'd be sick.
And she's English, so she could probably play around with that accent a little bit too.
Exactly. Pretty much everyone I cast was none. I don't think any of them are American. Which almost every actor is. None of them are American.
I only have a couple American people, and I only have like a very small amount of white people, like a very small.
Oh, okay, I'm interested. So I'll go first to the next one. The next one I picked is Beast, and I I fucked myself on this because the person I picked originally was Sterling K. Brown, which I thought would have been sick.
Really
but
good.
He's in Black Panther in the beginning. He's
He
fucking Killmonger's
is.
dad. Because I was like, yes,
is.
Sterling K. Brown. Because when I'm thinking Beast in these next movies, I think he's going to be 95% full Beast. You know
But
what
he
I
has
mean?
to have an element of like
Smart.
brains, because
And obviously Sterling K. Brown and This Is Us, he's smart. Well, pretty much anything he's in, he's smart. He's a smart guy. But then I was going over my list with Sam, and Sam's like, no. He was in Black Panther, and I'm like,
he
fuck.
was. I didn't even think about that.
So who I ended up picking, who I had him in a different spot, but she's like, no, switch him to here, and then she gave me a better idea for the other pick, which we'll get into when we get to that.
Okay.
I have Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
I like that.
Gentleman.
I like that.
Because in The Gentleman, I don't know if you've seen The Gentleman. It's wacky. That movie is awesome. He's a smart guy in that movie. And I was like, I can see it. I can, because that's the thing I brought up. And I was like, in Sons, he's smart, but it's different. It's not book smart. He's just savvy and a schemer and stuff like that. And she's like, in The Gentleman, he's super smart. That whole movie, he's insanely smart. And I was like, you're right. That would be awesome. So that's who I went with. Charlie Hunnam.
Nice. Beast. Check me out. Idris Elba.
Yo.
Smart.
Wait, you can't have Idris Elba.
Why? What was he in?
Heimdall.
Oh, no.
We both did the same thing for Beast. We cast an MCU person at first.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
But that would be dope. Idris Elba would be dope.
But Idris Elba would be so good. Beast was my last one because Beast is one of my favorites, and he's
so awesome.
He's such a he's like the Hulk. He's such a complex character.
Yes.
That you need the brains and the brawn. Damn. Yeah, I mean, he was Heimdall. Fuck. I don't have an answer for that one because that was like my last one I was like dwelling on for so long.
Because like I said, how I want him to be full out Beast, because obviously in the movies he really hasn't been. It's been like 50-50 or more human than Beast.
Yeah.
I want to see him maybe working with Smart Hulk, hanging upside down, mixing fucking chemicals or figuring out equations, like full out Beast.
We want a little Kelsey Grammer Beast. We want a little bit of Kelsey Grammer Beast.
A little bit.
Because he was good.
He was good.
But I don't believe that Kelsey Grammer's going to beat my ass. Like, I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's different. It's different with Hulk, because when he turns to Hulk, he's almost different. Now, not now. Yeah, not now that he's merged into one, but he's still a huge 7-foot tall, muscular green monster when it boils down to it.
Yeah, damn, Idris Elba, but I just feel like, oh crap.
He would be good though. That would be very cool.
You're right.
We kind of went in the same lane, but both fucked ourselves. In the beginning.
Damn. Okay.
Nightcrawler. Who'd you have for Nightcrawler?
Timothy Chalamet.
Dude, that's who I picked first. Yeah. I swear to God. Because he looks like him.
He looks like him, and he's. You know how Nightcrawler's kind of like,
yes. He's like weirdo.
The dummy. Like a weirdo. Timothy Chalamet is like. I love him. I think he's a great actor. I think he's been watching a lot of his movies. He's really good. He evokes emotion well, but he's just very like. That like he's very, and I think in the storyline of Nightcrawler, he's like right around that awkward age of being
he's young
21, like in that like kind of like so I think he would be perfect.
Yeah, funny because when I picked him at first, but I also we have one of our friends lives with us in our house. His name's Jimmy, and he loves like all nerd stuff too, so me and him will talk like hours just about anything nerd related at all. And so Sam was like, hey, what would your choices be? And he went through a few of them. And he said one so good, I couldn't pass it up. I did have Timothy Chalamet first, which is hilarious because I thought the same thing. I was like, he'd be perfect. He looks like him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Also, weird fun fact, he was almost Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah.
I could maybe
yeah, I think he might have been too weird, too awkward and weird to be Spider-Man.
Sure. Yeah, because Peter Parker's still a little bit like, he has a sense of what's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So who I have, Rami Malek.
Oh.
Right? He said that, and I was like, my idea was cool, but I was like, your idea is perfect.
see then if it, yeah. So if we're going based off the idea that we would do all origin movies, he's Rami Malek.
Oh my God.
Is definitely strong enough of an actor to do a solo movie, an origin movie.
He would be basically Mr. Robot without him being completely crazy.
That would be cool, though. I would like that. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, he said it, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, I'm not going to top that.
Think of that.
I didn't either. I was almost like, he's almost too big to play Nightcrawler, but the MCU does that all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, make Nightcrawler a big character.
yeah,
Fuck
you
it.
can
Who
make him a main
cares, you
character,
know?
yeah.
I mean, you made Guardians of the Galaxy, which is basically like an irrelevant, like not a very popular comic
Yeah,
book series into a
a
super awesome,
phenomenon. Yeah.
amazing story.
Yeah,
It's actually one of my favorite in the Marvel universe.
same. Yeah. I just did a top 5 episode with Zach from Left Behind, and that was in my top 5. Guardians
Yeah,
1. Great
love
movie.
it. Jean Grey.
Yeah. So this one, a lot of the women one, I had a hard time because they all have to be spot on. So I had to pick someone. So Saoirse Ronan.
Do I know
She's from Lady Bird, Little Women, Oscar nominated. She's
Oh,
like
yeah. She's kind of
huge.
creepy a little bit.
Yes.
Mhm.
She could do the whole telepath thing, and she could command the presence that is Jean Grey. And another weird thing, she was almost Scarlet Witch. She was even in an interview saying, yeah, I would love to be in the Marvel universe, and then it got cast to Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Okay, for Jean Grey. Jean Grey is she's my number one crush. She's my number one everything. So go with me on this. So if I'm going as a lot of these characters they're like, most of them are like young to like middle age that I picked sort of, because I want to develop with them. So I picked Jean Grey. I picked Madeline Pesh. She's from like Riverdale. She's the redhead on Riverdale.
Oh, yes.
She's let's go to this.
She would be very, very good.
And here's why I think so. I don't know if you've seen Riverdale ever.
Oh, I've watched every episode of Riverdale. Sam and I are obsessed with Riverdale. I love Riverdale.
So, and also another cartoon adaptation.
Right. Very different, but yes.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I honestly wouldn't watch like a show that had like a quirky like
no,
and, like I wouldn't watch. Madeline Pesh is Cheryl Blossom, and not only is she smart, she's literally one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. She's like motivated, determined. She has like game plans, and she's got the quality that my wife has, where like, and I love her for it, where it's like she's kind of a bitch, and it's like awesome. And she commands a room, and the most important thing, Jean Grey commands a room. I think that they have casted her as, I don't know, weaker than she is. And I know they took time for her to develop her talents, but she has always been able to command a room. She has every man fall in love with her. Like, that's just what happens. And I think Madeline Pesh would be amazing at it. I think that she'd be great. Plus, she could grow with with the series. So by the time we hit like an actual X-Men movie, she's like, almost 30. You know what I mean? And she's like in this prime of right when Jean Grey, becomes Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, the whole Phoenix saga. So, plus I would love to see Madeline Pesh anywhere I possibly can. So that's just a personal one for me there.
That's a really good one. Sam had someone in Riverdale on her list. I'll get to that because her list is pretty good. Some of it's the same because she gave me better ideas than what I had, but she did one that I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that, and that's really good.
Yeah.
Cyclops. I have Zachary Montgomery. He plays Billy in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And he was the Red Ranger in the newer Power Rangers movie. So if you did a mix of those two, perfect Cyclops. You have that edge and that mean streak, but then you have like the leader of the Power Rangers, kind of bad boy, whatever thing in one.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Good.
For Cyclops, because I think that Cyclops, I like Cyclops a lot. When I was younger, I like felt bad for him. I don't know why. I felt bad for him in the comic books a lot. Because I just never felt like he got like, he was a leader, but he's always like,
he was always the leader. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was kind of like overshadowed, and like, he had smart ideas, and he was good looking, and he's supposed to be like, I think he was supposed to be like, Scott Summers is supposed to be like a little bit like the All-American sort of like, boy.
He's the All-American boy for sure.
So going off the principle that these characters all need to carry themselves to get to like the combined X-Men MCU, I have two choices.
Ooh.
Number one, and this is my only, I would say, obvious pick where you don't have to look up who they are. Ryan Gosling or Robert Pattinson.
Wow.
Think about either one of, so I've been watching, I know Robert Pattinson's known for like Twilight shit, but I don't know if he's signed to like A24 or whatever, like, but
he did all those indie films.
Bro, and he is
Incredible.
I've only been watching A24 films for like the last like 2 months. He's incredible, and
Yeah,
he can
he's
emote.
amazing.
He can emote what I think Cyclops needs to emote as a leader, as Jean Grey's lover, as Wolverine's rival,
Yeah,
as Professor X's like right hand man. He needs to be strong. Gosling would just be, because also Cyclops doesn't like have a lot of dialogue. Like even he's more of an
he's
action man.
very he doesn't say many words at all.
Think about like Drive Gosling.
Gosling,
Like, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like Drive
yeah,
Gosling, like not a lot of words, a lot of action, good looking, got some scars. Like, you know what I mean? Like the age range, sort of that like vibe. So
yeah.
that was my only like mad obvious choices.
Those are good. The only reason, because I think I almost cast Robert Pattinson in a few things going through this, but the only reason I didn't is because of the whole Batman thing. We're obviously living in a made up world other than the rules I set, but
Right.
for some reason in my mind I thought, oh, he's going to be Batman for
And
the
he is,
next
yeah,
probably 10 years.
yes.
So he's
Yeah.
probably not going to do
Which
anything
I
else.
am
Same
actually,
reason why I didn't do Zoe Kravitz, because Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman in there.
yeah,
So I tried to,
stay away from those
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
But I think that he's going to be a great Batman.
I think he's gonna be incredible. There's 5 Marvel movies coming out in 2021, I think, including a new Spider-Man, maybe, I think. And that's my most anticipated movie of that year, is because
Yeah.
I've always been a Batman guy. And the
Yeah.
fact that it seems like they're taking like the Joker approach, where it's almost like a noir film, but superhero
Which is what
based.
that brand needs to stay that way. Because
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what didn't work. Suicide Squad didn't work. Not good. Though Birds of Prey, have you seen it?
Oh yeah, fun as fuck.
Loved it.
It's
Thought
like
it was awesome.
Deadpool. It's like Deadpool and John Wick had a weird
Because
girl baby.
but she's a star. She's meant
Oh
to
yeah,
be a star.
she is Harley Quinn, 1,000%.
Yeah,
100%
forever.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah, that movie was fun. It was super fun.
I liked it a lot. I went and saw it in the theaters and had no idea what I was even seeing.
Yeah, it was wacky. I loved it. That's why I loved it. That was one of the most comic book-y movies, like
Yeah,
comic book to film movies.
they did comic book right. They did it. They tried on Suicide Squad and it just was like too many characters.
Yeah, I like bits of Suicide Squad. The ending is just garbage.
Yeah.
Typical superhero movie ending, but done even worse.
Yeah, I think the DC needs to stay with that film noir type of.
Well, they've been doing a good job pretty much since Justice League. Obviously, Wonder Woman was that smash hit. Aquaman made $1 billion, and I super liked that movie because it was like a weird rom-com drama, crazy battle.
I liked Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was awesome. And
that was more of like the Marvel feel to it.
Yeah, and Shazam was super fun. Zach Levi.
Cool.
So pretty much, but they haven't gone the noir film, but they've been doing, hey, we're going to tell these stories and put in 1 or 2 lines that connect it to the stuff we've done before, but we're not going to worry about connecting things for a long while, which is good.
They don't really need to.
They need to keep that lane for a while. But I do like how they're doing this like separate universe has nothing to do with any of that, like Joker and how Batman is most likely, because I don't think it's tying into any of that stuff. It's going to be its own thing. But those are cool Cyclops picks.
Yeah. I just felt like they needed a real, like, it's a real.
I almost thought Zac Efron for Cyclops, but I have a fan cast for him as Adam Warlock, and I will not accept. Well, I'll accept him as Adam Warlock or Johnny Storm, but I want one of those more than anything. So that's why I threw him out. I was like, fuck that. He's either going to be in the Fantastic Four or he's going to be Adam Warlock, and that's what I
want. Imagine him as Havoc though.
Him as Havoc would be sick too.
That'd be cool. I mean, just like it's Scott's brother, so like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he is going to be in an MCU movie sometime soon. He's one of the guys that they haven't landed yet, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, he's too hot of a dude. They need him.
And everyone wants to be an MCU movie now. You know?
Oh yeah. Now of course, yeah. Everyone wants to be Tony Stark now.
Yeah, exactly. And so for Rogue, speaking of Suicide Squad, hilarious. And this was more of Sam's idea. I was thinking it a little bit, but she solidified it. Cara Delevingne, who obviously played Enchantress. Yeah. And that's the big thing with her, because like in Paper Towns, and even in Suicide Squad, she was pretty good until the weird dancing shit at the end and all that garbage.
Yeah, that was so strange.
Pretty much every big sci-fi or genre film she's been in have been a flop. So it'd be cool for her to be in something that could have a chance to shine and do well.
Right. Because she's great, and I just feel like she's just never gotten like a chance to like super shine.
No, I mean obviously she was a main point in the X1, but even that was, I don't know, it was weird. It
Yeah,
didn't feel like Rogue. Like, especially growing up watching the TV show, Rogue comes in as already as a fucking badass,
yeah,
from
exactly.
the jump. So having her being this weird thing that Wolverine needs to protect, and
Just like not a realistic thing at all.
yeah, it's just like, come on.
Okay, I have two.
Wow, you doubling up on these.
I don't think I need to have two, so
No, it's fine.
I'll say my not my original one is Ellie Fanning.
Yeah, that'd be
She was
good.
in Super 8. She's badass. She's young, and I think that she's got like this like weird little like because Rogue is like broken. You know what I mean? Rogue
Yeah,
needs to be
super
broken.
broken. Yeah.
Broken. But then I landed on the best one, Zendaya, from like Euphoria.
Davey,
Yeah. What about?
Zendaya is MJ in Spider-Man, right?
Oh my god.
Because Sam was
Okay.
like, "Oh, Zendaya is Storm." I think she said.
I had Zendaya and Storm originally, but I was like, oh,
Yeah,
too young. I took her out because I was like, too young if we're gonna go like mad
yeah,
young.
yeah.
I
And I
hate
was
that.
like, "She's in Spider-Man."
See, I'm like, I know, I'm like not. I'm only counting like. See, I'm only thinking about when I think about like MCU stuff. I know
It's
that
still
Spider-Man's
MCU.
part of.
Yeah,
I know it's Spider-Man's part of it, but I think of like X-Men, Avengers, like Guardians.
yeah.
That whole world. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we'll go Ellie Fanning then.
Another you saying that as young too. That I almost cast her in something. Millie Bobby Brown would probably be a cool rogue too.
She would be cool. I kept on trying to put her into this list, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know where she
it didn't
belongs, but
fit
she belongs
exactly.
somewhere. She
Yeah,
belongs somewhere. Just not sure yet where. Because Rogue is like the other side of Rogue is this, which is very important, is that you don't get someone too young because Rogue was she's broken, she's sexual, she's a flirt, and she needs to be around that like age,
yeah,
because a lot of how she got like like she would always go in as decoy and
yeah.
like her and Gambit would be a good team, right? And she would go and flirt with men and also flirt with men and if you go back and look at the comics, she's flirting with women as well. Like
Yeah,
there's a
yeah. It's just yeah.
across the board because
Yep.
she's like enchanting, So that's why Zendaya, I was like, God, that girl's so
Yeah, because
enchanting.
she's like sassy, like
Yeah,
flirty girl for sure.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so after Rogue, I have Magneto on the list. And mine, you would have to make them look older, but I think this would be perfect. Sam I think hates my Magneto and my Professor X, but I think they would work. You might have to make them both look older, but I mean, they've made Josh Brolin look like a big purple fucking monster. So
Right, they can do
with
it.
Disney, anything is possible. It doesn't matter. So for my Magneto, Adam Driver. Kylo
Oh,
Ren, Marriage Story. It's almost Kylo Ren in the last Star Wars movie is almost just Magneto.
that's true.
In a
That is
way, like
true.
he has
That's
that
true.
powerful presence. He walks in the room and it's serious, just like Magneto needs to be. And Magneto's not necessarily wrong. The way he maybe takes things out is wrong, but
He's
they've
the
been
best
setting this
character.
up, and they've been setting this up huge in the MCU with bad guys being right to a point, but maybe executing it the wrong way, and that's Magneto.
I mean, Magneto for the longest time wasn't a bad guy. He was just
No,
he. I think Magneto exemplifies what X-Men was trying to get a point across is that Magneto was pushed by humanity to do, I guess, wrong in the eyes of those humans because they pushed so. I mean, it starts with his parents getting killed in the Holocaust,
Holocaust.
and it goes on like he's had a painful life,
Yeah,
and has dealt with racism on a very very large scale, being a Jewish man. So it's just he's a I have him tattooed on me because I relate to that. It's just like
yeah,
humanity pushing you to a point where like you're like, all right, fine. Like you want the Earth Ender. Earth Ender's here now. Fine.
yeah.
This is what you wanted. This is what you got now. You pushed me too far.
He's a guy really just standing up for his, humanity, and his mutants are like not, I guess not like a race because they're just a genetically modified human, but it almost comes that they become, that's the whole point of X-Men is people looking down on these people who are
Yeah,
still human, but they're different.
it's
And
prejudice. I mean,
yeah,
that's the exact
it's,
whole point
yeah, the
of
whole thing
why it came out.
of X-Men. And he just wants to stand up for mutants, and
Mm-hmm.
he gets pushed to like pushed to bounds where he can't come back from, and he's doing whatever he takes to protect mutants.
So you ready for who I think should be Magneto?
Yes,
Christoph Waltz.
that's what Sam said too.
Perfect. perfect. I mean, think about how educated, how well he could talk.
She ended up changing it, but she did say him originally.
There's side by sides of him on the internet with the original like comic version of Magneto out of a costume, and he has like a mustache, like a white mustache, comb over hair. Like he was like my only choice for it. Which is crazy that he's not in the MCU yet, because I know they're gunning for him. I think he's one of the most talked about fan casts for so many different like characters in the X-Men, specifically in the X-Men like fandom world.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I picked Adam Driver, because with his short, long hair, if it was just gray and make it look older, that's so many Magnetos in the comics look just like that, you know?
As long as you make Magneto like around like 40s to start.
So you can make Adam Driver look in the 40s easy, you know?
I think Adam Driver's like 30-something, right?
Yeah, he looks a little bit younger, but you just got to put some makeup on him and make his hair.
He'll be fine.
It's easy.
He'll be fine.
They do it with Mandy Moore, and This Is Us. She still looks like she's just like 20, and they make her look like her grandma.
I mean, they do that with like, what's that new movie, that like mob movie, and it has like all the old like Robert.
Irishman.
Dude, they put all that weird makeup and then CGI stuff. I'm like, they can do anything. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
2020 people, let's go. Okay.
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost.
Which, before we get into this, obviously Emma Frost has been in the movies, but not like how she is meant to be. Obviously, she kind of starts off as a bad guy, but then ends up being the whole bridge between people and mutants, and she becomes the head of the Hellfire Club and everything like that. And even the Hellfire Club hasn't really been a thing in the movies either, which it needs to be. Obviously.
It needs to be. Yeah.
And so I included her because she needs to be, and I think she will be in the future because she needs to. Yes.
Amazing character. I mean, as far as comics go, which is weird that you never really saw like any sort of like, there'd be some times where I'm watching like the new X-Men and new X movies come on, and there's like a blonde girl, and I'm like, is that Emma Frost? And they're like, oh no, they're not. Okay, they're not going to cover her at all. So I have for Emma Frost, I have Hunter Schafer. So she played the lead in Euphoria.
Okay.
She's, I don't know, she's mystical. Let's see here. I'll go to this. I don't know what else she's been in so far. I think Euphoria she's been in some like
okay, I can see that.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it's pretty much Euphoria, pretty much. She's been that's the
thing. But her breakout role in Euphoria was amazing. She's a trans actor and doing so much for that community. And I think that look at her. She would nail that, you know what I mean? Plus I think she has a lot of her tendencies and kind of confident shyness is what I kind of came up with for that.
She's very blunt, and she's not in a mean way, but she's like a bitch. You know what I mean? She says exactly what she's thinking. She knows what she wants, and she gets it. You know what I mean?
When she speaks, because there's like so much where she waits. There's a line in one of the, I can't remember what it is, but it's like, are all the idiots done weighing in now? And then she gives her idea. But she's very like, she only speaks when she speaks.
She waits for the right time. Yeah.
Always. Yeah. She's the best.
Who I have? Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah.
Which
that would be good.
Obviously, it's kind of crazy that she's not in an MCU movie either.
Yeah, that's really weird.
But now that Ryan Reynolds is officially going to be in the MCU and everything, obviously he's married to her. So it would make sense of her being in something. And especially if they have the X-Men Deadpool thing, it'd be funny to see them like be almost real life quirky to each other, but in their own characters.
Be great. I would love that a lot.
But like her in A Simple Favor, she's almost that exact thing what you said. She waits into the right moments to say what she needs to say, and she's so mysterious in that movie. And even in Gossip Girl, Sam made me watch all of Gossip Girl last year. We binged the whole thing over the course of a couple months.
I forgot about Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl's amazing. I love Gossip Girl. I don't care. but yeah, obviously she's one of the main characters in Gossip Girl, and she has that same kind of feel to that one as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Okay, last two, the big ones. Wolverine. Mine is so hard because I didn't want to pick Taron Egerton because he's everyone's pick for a fan cast to be Wolverine.
Yeah, he is.
It's either Taron Egerton or Tom Hardy, but Tom Hardy would kind of count, but not really if they're going to bring in Venom. I don't know. That's kind of a weird.
And that Venom movie was like a throwaway movie, I'm pretty sure anyways. So.
Well, they're coming out with Venom 2, and it seems like all the Spider-Man movies are now going to be connected with the MCU in a way. because the Morbius trailer had Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming in it and everything.
Yep.
So everything's going to start connecting. I feel like either Sony's going to make this deal with Marvel, or Marvel's just going to buy Spider-Man, or Sony's just going to keep the deal with Spider-Man where they share it, because now it's like a 50-50 split. And Kevin Feige's helped producing all these other non-Spider-Man universe movies too,
which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. So I didn't want to pick Taron Egerton. I didn't want to pick the obvious ones for really any of them, but especially for Wolverine. And Wolverine is so hard because Hugh Jackman was Wolverine for fucking ever.
And to be fair, when you think about Wolverine in your head, you think about Hugh Jackman. That's who
you do now, yeah, for sure. Even though he had some of the things of the comic Wolverine, but at the same time, he made it completely his own thing too.
Yeah, true.
So, like I said with Beast and other characters like that, I almost want to see, because either the MCU's done a thing where they'll either fully embrace comic accurate like costumes or looks, or they'll at least nod to it in one way, like a throwaway kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
But I kind of want to see Wolverine in the full mask and shit, like full on. You know what I mean? That
whole thing.
I would love that.
I want yellow leotard, blue glove.
I would love it.
Give me real Wolverine.
Yes, I would love that. So who I pick, and this is because originally I had Charlie Hunnam as Wolverine,
which would be a good Wolverine,
which would be cool. But then Sam said this one, and it is so left field, but would work so well. I was like, holy fuck. It was like the Rami Malek thing. I was like, this is so fucking cool if they did this. I don't think they will. I have no idea who they'll do. But Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us. Oh
my God.
Yeah. He was in Heroes, and he was in this crazy movie years ago called Pathology.
Yeah, no, totally.
So I'm sure like no one has seen Pathology, but basically it's all the doctors that work in a pathology report is how the person died. Like you determine the cause of death. So this group of doctors, I think they're all fully fledged doctors or whatever. So they make this secret group in the hospital they work at. And after hours, each one has a turn and they murder someone in some crazy way. And the game is they have to figure out how they killed them. So it kind of goes off the rails. So he played this weird kind of dark, he like falls into this dark group when really he's a good guy. And even in This Is Us, he's had like a mean streak and he's had to play some super hard parts. I mean, I love This Is Us. I think it's the best written TV show of all time, but that's besides the point. And it's made me cry probably like 300 times. But
I'm looking up his stuff right now. Do you know he did voices for Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir?
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did voices. I think he's Spider-Man.
Whoa.
I think he's Spider-Man Noir. I think that's what it's looking like on here. He also did Gotham, the TV show, and I know he was on Heroes. I can't find it here, but he was
he was one of the main dudes in Heroes.
Oh my God, dude. He played the voice of Logan and Wolverine on the Marvel anime.
There it is.
In 2011, the animated series. It says it's in his and the TV. Dude, he did it. He's done it.
That like she said
and
that
he played Wolverine in the Iron Man TV series.
There we go. Boom. I'm gonna tell Sam that after this.
Here it is. Amazing. Heroes. I knew he was in Heroes.
Oh yeah, he was one of the main guys. He became like the Superman of Heroes.
Yeah, he's in Heroes. That's like where I know him from.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, he already was playing.
That's insane.
Wolverine, which would be a good little cool little.
That would be very. Yeah, she said that, and I was like, "Oh,
damn!" Now I feel like crap. Now I feel like crap about mine.
It was her. It wasn't even me. So don't even feel bad.
You'll like this. I know you will. And I don't want to. I don't think he's already in anything in the MCU at all. For Wolverine, I have Oscar Isaac.
Dude, I'll let it slide. He was in X-Men Apocalypse, but you couldn't tell who he was. He was Apocalypse. But it wouldn't break the rule.
I literally didn't even know that. It wouldn't break the rule.
Because he looks totally different. Because they kind of wasted him. But he would be awesome.
Dude,
I love Oscar Isaac.
About him and think about this. Because Wolverine is actually short.
Yes. I was going to say that in the beginning, like how he's supposed to be short.
He's supposed to be short. He's supposed to be like 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", like in that realm. Think about just a stocky Oscar Isaac with just like the beard and just. Dude,
did you see those images from that Dune movie that's coming out?
Dune? In Dune, did you say?
Yeah.
No, I haven't looked right now.
So Dune is basically this crazy space sci-fi movie.
I know. Yeah, I know
yeah.
I know what Dune is, but I haven't seen it.
Oscar Isaac is in it. They posted a bunch of images in the past couple of days. Oscar Isaac is in it, and he has this crazy gray, huge beard in it, and he looks like the biggest badass.
They're also sounding like Timothy Chalamet's going to be in the movie too.
Okay, this cast is insane. Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa, Zendaya's in it, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Batista. It's insane. It's the craziest cast ever.
It's 2020, right?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to come out in December, I believe.
Oh yeah, here I got a. Oh wow, yeah, this cast looks insane. But if you go back and look at all the recasting, they did a good job.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, I think Oscar Isaac would
That's
be
cool. No, that's a cool one.
Incredible Wolverine.
Yeah. In Apocalypse, he was wasted.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
And they made Apocalypse such a throwaway villain too. It was a bummer.
Which in Apocalypse is incredible.
Yeah, and they never get rid of him. They just like trap him somewhere. He's always there. He always comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And then what do we got? Professor X. Okay, so I like delayed on this for a long time.
Me too. Sam hates mine. Hates it.
It's hard because physically they nailed Professor X with Jean-Luc Picard. What's the guy's name? What's the actor's name?
Oh, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, that's what
he is. It's the same thing with Hugh Jackman. It's hard to picture Professor X without thinking of him.
Professor X he was in the comic book. He was comical. He was very smart. He was satirical. So I went with one of my favorite actors, which is kind of like out of left field, but Stanley Tucci.
He was in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Was he?
Yeah.
But was he a character?
Yeah. I think he's someone in Dr. Abraham Erskine. He's the doctor in Captain America 1.
He's in First Avenger, yeah.
He's the doctor who does the super soldier serum, who recruits Steve Rogers. Because Sam said Stanley Tucci too.
I just think I think that that's right, he was, but I feel like he's small enough.
And he has kind of has weird hair in it, so you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, bald and then just glasses and I just think that his acting style would lend to Professor X so well, because he already reminds me of like a professor. He looks
the part. So for me, I tried to think out of the box, but someone who I could find that looked okay bald, because that's important. Which is the hardest. Obviously, that's the hardest thing. So. And again, Sam hates this one. I love it. I think it's amazing. Okay. Especially if Adam Driver would be my Magneto.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Because like Obi-Wan, Black Mask, and Birds of Prey, if you kind of mix it all together, or anything Ewan McGregor plays, he has that vibe. He has that Professor X vibe to him, to me.
He does.
And he looks good bald.
And he's a little, and you gotta call a spade a spade. He's an English white guy, but he looks a little bit like Michael Fassbender. Like he's in that facial profiling of, wow. No, that would be a good one. He wasn't in anything. I'm trying to think of. He's in like a lot of action movies, but never in an MCU.
Yeah, he's been in a million Disney properties. Like obviously he was in Star Wars before Star Wars was owned by Disney, but he was in like Christopher Robin and a million.
He's going to be in the new Birds of Prey too.
Yeah, he was awesome in that.
Yeah,
he was a great villain.
That's a really good one. It was hard to go. I went off the bald vibe, so I went right away.
Yeah,
bald that I.
There's that other guy. You know the Kingsman movies.
Yes.
You know the maid guy.
That was like my other guy. Yeah. That was like he was. What's that guy's name? That guy was like on my radar. He was Mark Strong.
Mark Strong. Yep.
Yeah. He was like my backup. He was my next guy.
Because he looks. It's the same thing with Robert Tucci. They have the same look and the same vibe too.
Very, very educated, very to the point. Yeah.
So mine's a little left ball. So I'm gonna go over Sam's quick.
Yeah, I want to hear what Sam had. Yeah.
So Beast, she had Charlie Hunnam. Wolverine, she had Milo. Rogue, she had Cara Delevingne. Same thing with Nightcrawler, she had Rami Malek. So for Emma Frost, she had Lily Reinhart, also from Riverdale, plays Betty in Riverdale.
Yeah, for sure.
And she was in Hustlers.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Hustlers with her too.
But she said that, and I was like, that was really, because she said Madeline could be Emma Frost too, and I was like, yeah, that would work. So when you said Madeline, I was like, oh, that's funny because she thought of that too.
That's awesome.
For Professor X, she had Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which
know,
could work.
Well, yeah,
he's been bald.
He can kind of do anything.
Yeah. She had Tucci at first, and I was like, Tucci was in Captain America, so
I forgot that he was in that. Also, I know Gambit wasn't on here.
The only reason I didn't include Gambit because of the whole Channing Tatum thing that was supposed to be a thing for years, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave it off.
Yeah. For Gambit though, my number one Gambit forever is Shia LaBeouf.
He would be awesome.
They're both Cajun.
Sam almost said Shia LaBeouf for Wolverine, which would work too.
I could like that. I like Shia LaBeouf is like my favorite. So.
But I'm hoping there was rumors that he might be Moon Knight, which would be sick because he's like a schizophrenic Batman pretty much. Yeah, so that would be perfect. For Storm, she had this is so funny because she said Willow Smith, and I was like, is she too young? And she goes, Jaden Pickett Smith, and she's like, nah, fuck it, just CGI them together. And I was like, yeah, just meet it in the middle. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That works.
Jada 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, it would have been perfect. Yeah,
perfect.
For Cyclops, she had Taron Egerton, which would work.
That would work. I like that.
Obviously, for Magneto, she had Cillian Murphy. He's in a billion things. He was in Scarecrow and Batman. And everything.
Cillian Murphy has been like huge in like fan casting for X-Men and just MCU stuff in general. People want him.
And then the last one that wasn't the same as mine, Jean Grey, she had Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which would work too.
Yeah, Dakota Fanning's like been kicking ass recently, and she's older now and doing well. So I could definitely see that.
So I want to hear your other ones that you included.
My favorite character that got literally like Archangel is my favorite character.
Archangel is sick.
And his whole entire like arc of like being a character is amazing. And if they did that, I would want Ansel Elgort to play him, the guy that did Baby Driver. Ooh. But he's in Deadpool too. But I don't know what he does in Deadpool. Because it says he's listed as that he's in there, but imagine him as Angel. Imagine an Archangel story with like Mr. Sinister and like I need a Mr. Sinister too. Like that is just.
So there was when New Mutants was supposed to come out 2 years ago. There was a rumored after credit scene that had John Hamm as Mr. Sinister, which would be dead on amazing. Fucking perfect.
Yeah, because he's got the disposition. Like he can nail that.
Yeah, he's obviously Mr. Sinister is fucking batshit crazy.
Okay, so I had him, Shatterstar. I big fan of Shatterstar.
Yeah, and they had him in Deadpool right for 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it was like he died. It was terrible. But I would love Shatterstar to have his own. But Shatterstar was like this whole other thing. I would want Joe Carey, which is Steve from Stranger Things, to play him.
Yes,
dude, imagine that. Just wielding like, dude, he would be incredible.
You know who'd be a cool Archangel? The other dude from Stranger Things. What's his face?
The brother.
Yes.
Yeah, the brother that like, the jacked kind of like cool hot brother. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be good too. Okay, so
Charlie Heaton. He's in New Mutants, but New Mutants, because the same thing with Deadpool 2, because I think what they're going to do with Deadpool, they might carry a few characters over to the MCU, but I think they're kind of weirdly retcon somehow that like Deadpool was in his own multiverse or something. So even if he was, I mean, you brought these up anyway, so it doesn't
yeah. These are all like just like, you know. Okay, I'm just going to read my list real quick of that people that I think should be included. So Archangel, Angel, Shatterstar, Lady Deathstrike, which they like barely touched on Lady Deathstrike in the Wolverine movies. Yes. And her character is like one of my favorite like female characters. Havoc. I think Havoc's incredible. Wolfsbane, great character. Thunderbird that became Warpath.
Yo, did you ever watch the Gifted?
No.
It's an X-Men TV show, and it's basically after the X-Men fell, and it's the runaways of mutants. And basically, Bill from True Blood is a dad in it, and he's a persecutor for So pretty much it goes back to how X-Men were like ostracized, but worse. So if they do like anything, they get like arrested, and he's a persecutor for mutants. And then he finds out that his kids are mutants. So he ends up going on the run, his whole family, and they team up with the Mutant Underground. And it's a journey of that. And it sucks because they got canceled with obviously like the Disney buying out Fox. But the next season, they teased doing Days of Future Past in a TV format, which would have been sick. But Warpath is in that. And the dude who plays him in that, I don't know who he is. I've only ever seen him in that. He is fucking dope.
I would want Michael Hudson to play him. He's like this native actor model, and he just exemplifies what I think Warpath would be. So I don't have characters for everybody, but I'm a big X-Force fan. So like having Forge, having Bishop.
Bishop would be so sick.
A Bishop movie, literally let The Rock play Bishop and let him be imagine The Rock as Bishop. Like literally.
That'd be so sick. That would be, or if you have the one King Ezekiel or whatever from The Walking Dead, he would be a sick Bishop too.
Oh yeah, he would be great. I just think The Rock could like just encompass everything I want. Plus, a Bishop movie has to be action-packed, violent, as probably one of the most violent movies. The whole X-Force storyline is like some of the most violent in the entire X-Men world.
They're the X-Men who have no rules. Basically.
Well, right. There's no allegiance. They're basically like hired mercenary.
Yeah.
That then like team up and like are like, all right, fine, like we'll do some good in the world. But they continue to like. It's funny because even within the X-Force series, because it's X-Force is the main three guys I love is Bishop, Havoc, and Bishop, Forge, and there's one other dude. But they
you think Cable, or is it before Cable?
Cable. No, it's Cable. But Cable's a time traveler, so Cable comes in and out of the X-Force
because he's from the future.
Yep. And then Bishop has like a family that like he's avenging his family / looking for a family member. So like he kind of swings in and out of like X-Force and stuff too. So
it's all revolving for the X-Force for sure. Yeah.
I would love an X-Force movie. I mean, more than anything else, I would like a later day.
There was supposedly going to be an X-Force movie, then a Deadpool 3 movie, but I think they're going to move forward with a Deadpool 3 movie. But I feel like they might give us a full-on Deadpool X-Force movie.
They probably will, because like the X-Force that I'd like to see obviously like Cable, Bishop, and Forge, but at a certain point, Wolverine joins X-Force.
Yep.
At a certain point, Psylocke, which is also another like fantastic character that I'd like to see come to light. Psylocke joins.
She was in Apocalypse, but that was it.
Yeah, it's like barely even like referenced. And then like Deadpool's in there, and then even getting into further, like there's like X-Force 2099, and it's like there's like lots of like crazy like.
Have you read the newer X-Men books?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I think
this is what you need to do. All right. You need to. There's a trade of what started this whole new run. It's called House and Powers of X, but it was 2 runs, but they overlapped with each other.
Oh, cool.
But they have a trade with them all in order. I bought that because I started buying them as issues, but then I got annoyed with buying issues, so I just wait until the trade comes out and buy the trades.
Yeah. I'll probably just end up buying the whole trade.
And now that started, no joke, 10 new runs off of it. But the main runs they've been including in volumes. So they'll have the first issue of each of the run in volume 1. And then I think volume 3 or 4 is out now. I have volume 1 and 2. But the main ones it started was, the main one is Dawn of X, which is the main X-Men group. Then they have an X-Force. They have this thing called Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
And then they have another one called Marauders, which is Kitty Pryde. Emma Frost hires Kitty Pryde to be pretty much like a pirate.
Really?
Yeah, and she has a team called the Marauders, and they just go around. It's nuts. And there's a Fallen. Did I say Fallen Angels? I did.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a few other ones I'm forgetting, but they just started a new Wolverine run. They started a new Cable run, and everything. But
Ooh, like
the whole
Apocalypse run, that would be cool.
Yeah, like they did it, but way too
like
short, and like for real. Yeah. So pretty much the whole premise of House and Powers of X is that I can't remember her name now. Oh, it's Mora or Miora or something like that. She's been in like X-Men lore for forever.
Yeah,
but
it's Moira.
Yes, and they made it canon that she's a mutant because she's always just been involved, but they made it so she's a mutant. So, and her mutant powers are that when she dies, she gets birthed again, but she remembers everything from her past life.
Does she have to grow up all the way?
Yes, but she's born with knowledge of her past life, like straight out of the gate. Pretty much, she comes up with this idea to save mutants, and she ends up getting Professor and Magneto and all the mutants on the same page, and they create Krakoa as its own like province of the world.
Wow,
and
awesome.
They create all these drugs to like, cure cancer, prolong life, all this stuff, and they trade the government and the world. So they're their own. They live by their own rules. You can't enter there. Only mutants can. But we'll give you these life-changing drugs. So wow. it's you follow her going through all of her lives, and basically every time they get killed by something, it's humans creating crazy sentinels that kill them, or mutants killing other mutants, or whatever. It's the whole story of them developing, making this solution. It's insane.
Wow. That's awesome. Because Moira McTaggart has always been like a human CIA.
Yes.
A scientist confidant to Professor X and the X-Men, but has never really taken on like an actual role. And I'm actually, I'm reading about it now. What you're saying.
Sounds you would awesome. Love it. It's hard to follow because it goes through time periods and stuff, but it all ties together at the end.
I'm used to that kind of stuff.
It's comics.
Suspend your belief and just read what you're reading.
Yeah, and it is definitely one of the coolest comic runs I've ever read. And the dude, Jonathan Hickman, he was the main guy behind it. And he wrote Secret Wars, which is my favorite comic event ever. He wrote Infinity, and he did some Avengers runs and stuff. But he's the guy.
House of X, Power of X, and Chaos War X-Men.
Yeah. And House and Powers are the main one that started this new thing. There are 2 runs that intertwine, but if you buy the trade, it's all in order and everything.
I'm just gonna look it all up right now and buy it because I need to be able to read this. It sounds
you'll love it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's one of the best current runs. So I like to end the podcast with something I call Metalcore Minute. So it's a minute, and then you just list off anything you're into right now, whether it be a movie or a show you just watched, or bands you're listening to, or comics you're reading, or games you're playing. And don't worry about yourself after this. I'll let you plug whatever you want to plug for that.
Cool.
So,
sweet.
Metalcore Minute. Are you ready?
Does it have to be metal? Yeah. Anything I'm listening to, anything I'm watching, right?
Anything you're just into right now.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go.
I've been into like a lot of like super like dark like synthwave stuff, like Soft Kill and Kiki, please help me, Choir Boy, and Drab Majesty and stuff like that. Kiki, my wife, really got into that kind of stuff, and I like making out with her. So I'm into like a lot of that kind of stuff. I've been going back and revisiting a lot of old metalcore records. I listened to Bless the Martyr all the way through yesterday, and nice. What an amazing piece. I've been really into like Spotify curated playlists. People are making a ton of playlists right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of going on playlists on Spotify and like figuring it out. For podcasts, recently I've been listening to yours, which is awesome because it's nerdy and cool.
Thank you.
I've been listening to Hidden Brain on NPR. I've been listening to Office Ladies, which if you don't know what Office Ladies is, it's Pam and it's Pam and Angela, and they go through every single Office episode, which is 200 episodes, which is awesome. And I think they're only on like episode like 50 something right now. I've been watching a lot of movies and stuff, a lot of A24 movies, tons of A24 movies. We just finished, what did we just finish? Apple TV, we just finished Home After Dark. So adorable and good and great. I've been a sucker recently for a lot of things that like are adorable and like are suspenseful and make me cry. So that's like been like my new thing. I'm trying to think what else I've been into recently.
I let you go over a minute, but that's fine.
That's it. Well, that's good then.
That was good. I like that. That's nice.
I opened up my Spotify. I was like, what have I been doing?
I know, that's why I like it. I like putting people on the spot and seeing what they can come up with.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get stuck in
I know,
these,
it's hard.
Like
it's
cycles of like the same thing over and over again. So
okay, before we sign off, plug anything you got going on.
Plug time.
Yes.
So we're not able to be performing live and making music right now for other people in front of you, but the new Trove record is coming out very soon.
And it's amazing. Obviously, I've heard I booked them, but it's incredible. Hot take, I think it's better than Vanna, and I loved Vanna a lot. So
well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I think that a lot of people need to get past the fact that like you might have liked old bands that people are into, but people are into new things, and you should get into it. And Trove's not even that new, you know what I mean? It's been around for a minute, but this will be our first full length, and we're really proud of it and excited for it. So we're going to have 5 music videos coming out this year. Hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have 5 music videos done that we figured out how to do in and out of quarantine. We have some stuff that we're working on, and quarantine came and we had to like kind of figure out how to make this better.
Yeah.
I will have a new solo EP hopefully out in 2020. I'm working on new music with Josh and Justin now. I'm getting that cracking. And then Tron and I have a new project in the works as well. It's I don't want to say the name of it yet, but it's music that I can make out to my wife with. So that's really all that matters to me, and it's all important. And then as far as anything goes with mental health and speaking, I don't really want to plug anything. I just want to say that if you're, struggling through this time, that you're not alone and that we're all here. And there's tons of resources on hopefortheday.org, which is a nonprofit that I work out with based out of Chicago. We are a mental health education and suicide prevention, proactive prevention team of people that just want you to know that you're not alone. And I think that right now, podcasts like this are helping people get by. So whatever you have to do to keep on getting by and keeping yourself healthy and happy and loved, keep on doing that.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love that you do that stuff. And the more
listen to my podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there new podcast episodes coming out soon?
Yeah. So I have I have some new podcast episodes coming out the next week with Nick Lambert from Vanna, Taylor Lumley from former Beartooth. And a bunch of other awesome guys, and maybe me and you will just get on a podcast and talk about other stuff. Though this is my favorite stuff to talk about. So
yeah, I love it. I'm like I said, as soon as I thought of this, I texted you and was like, "You're going to be on this. We just need to figure out."
Don't let this be the last time I'm on it as well, because
I'm definitely going to bring the people I've had on have been so much fun. I'm definitely going to bring them on for different stuff.
Yeah, because you can get in this world, you can get so finite with you can have an entire podcast just talking about tell me everything that you don't like about Infinity Wars. You know what I mean? You could just do an entire podcast.
Ethan and I had one where we argued for an hour. So
yeah, I love that. I also love that Ethan Harrison is everybody's first guest on a podcast because he's just great at talking.
Dude, I know. As soon as I saw yours, I was like, "Fuck!" I was gonna have him first on mine. I was like, "I don't give a fuck. Whatever. It's about Endgame. People are gonna listen to it anyway."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Ethan's very opinionated about that dude's been my best friend for years, and we go back and forth. We do not see eye to eye on a lot of Marvel comic, most of that kind of stuff. And he's so opinionated and strong in that opinion that sometimes I'm like, maybe I do feel the way you feel. I don't really know.
I always stick to my guns. He got me with one thing, but I got him with more than he got me. So
wow,
I'll take pride in that. There was a few things where he's like, now that you explain it that way, you're right. And then I'd explain other things in a similar way, and he's like, nah, I don't believe that. And I'm like, whatever, man.
and everything that you convinced him on, he did a deep dive later because he was so mad that he was wrong about something.
And the ones I did, I was like, hey, remember in this movie when this happened? That's why this makes sense in this. And he's like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And I was like, there we go.
That's awesome. I love that.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad we figured out a topic, and this one was very fun. I'm very stoked on it.
Yeah. This will be a long one, so I hope they made it all the way to the end.
It's not in relation to other ones. It's pretty average.
It's about the same time, yeah.
Yeah, so we're good. Again, man, thank you for doing this.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That's it for this one. Thanks for checking this one out. Davey was pretty bad at promoting his podcast. It's called the My Actual Dude Podcast, so check that out if you haven't already. And if you want to support the podcast, follow us on social media at Metalcore Nerds, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe and rate on Apple Podcasts. Follow on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. Share the episode on social media. Tell a friend that you think would like these episodes. And if you want to support monetarily, go to redcircle.com/metalcore-nerds/donations. Until next time, this is Metalcore Nerds.